Okay,
Okay.
it's official. Okay. Well, great. And momentarily, then I'm going to do a screen share because we have a PowerPoint. In fact, I may just go ahead and do that now. But you know what? We're going to do a screenshot because we wanted to kind of get a screenshot for not only the Community Foundation social media, but ours as well. So if everybody will indulge me and kind of do a wave, that would be fantastic. So if we're all wave, I can't wave and hit the button, so I'll just smile. But thank you so much. I'm going to do a couple. Okay. I think we have some usable pictures. So thanks for that. And Kevin, kindly give me a reminder to send that.
Well, actually, if you could all just like for 1 second, 10 seconds.
You didn't do it on your end too. Okay.
No, yeah, I'm going to do my own.
Okay, we're going to do another one for Kevin.
3,
so we can do a big wave.
And I'm sure you all look great and I will look terrible because I'm trying to hit buttons, but we'll go.
You
3, 2, 1. All right, let me see if I got anything.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Kevin, and thanks for that great reminder. I don't know if I would have remembered that, so thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, so we are, let's see, we are recording. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share. And can everyone see the screen? It's a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So just by way of introduction, I think everybody saw the screen, but first our guest of honor, of course, is Hannah FRUHWIRTH, who is our 2021 Stephen Chandler Ericson Scholarship recipient. And we're just delighted. She is a Henderson High School graduate. She's going to be attending the University of South Carolina in biosciences. Is that correct, Hannah?
Correct.
And so we're just excited for you. We have her mother, Colleen, with us. Colleen, welcome. It's a delight to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We've got her father, Michael, I think seated behind Hannah. We've got her sister, Abe and Ansley, and her brother, Jared. And so we're appreciative of all your family support there. As far as sponsors go, we have Dave Johnson, Margie's in spirit. She'll be joining us in a little bit, but we've got Dave and Margie Johnson, and we've got Jenny Harding Messino and her husband's in spirit, or he may pop his head in, we don't know. But we're just thankful for everyone to join us tonight. And here on my end, Cynthia Ericson, Laura Ericson, the reason that this all began, Laura Ericson, my mother, and my husband, Gary Bideman, but it all began because of mother, Laura Ericson, my father, Joseph Ericson, began this scholarship. And I'm going to turn it over to mother shortly to really go into how this all came about, how they created all this. But I just wanted to, before mother starts her part, I just wanted to kind of, for a lot of you, all of Hannah's family, you know, you really don't know a lot about Steve, but we have some pictures. Of course, that handsome gentleman with his dog Kelly, that is Stephen. And as you can see, we are partners with the Chester County Community Foundation. We're going to talk more about them later in our presentation. And so we're going to have an intro, and then mother's going to do her presentation, and then we're going to talk about our amazing sponsors, which is how we got to the level we're at this year. Then we're going to turn over to Hannah, and Hannah will be able to give her testimonial, which we're grateful to hear that. And then lastly, we want to talk about, and equally important, the Chester County Community Foundation, and talk about their support of Steve's foundation and how the funds will actually work, how that's going to translate directly to your university. Okay, there is Stephen and his dog Kelly. And just so you know, this is the family that this all started from. Stephen is, I guess, I don't know if I can point it out with the PowerPoint, but on the top left is my father, Joseph, and my mother, Laura, of course. That's at their 50th wedding anniversary in the top left. The center, I think that's one of you and Daddy in Florida. And to the right was your 35th or your, let's see, your 40th wedding anniversary. So 10 years difference, the 40th in the top right. And then underneath, we've got my mother and father and Stephen and Dad and Mother and Daddy. That was actually in the lower left, Mother in the navy sweater. That was at our Rotary, one of our pancake breakfasts. And these are some amazing pictures of Steve and my sister Jennifer. We're a family of 3 children. I'm the oldest, then Steve, then Jennifer. And these are just great pictures of Steve and Jen, and then Stephen and Kelly, and Stephen and my granddad, Mother's father. And Kelly's the dog, yeah. And Steve was quite the athlete, fishing, soccer, tennis, golf, swimming, you name it, he did it. And here's some wonderful pictures of Steve.
Cute.
And just of all different ages. He had his accident 3 weeks into being 16. So we've tried to show a myriad of shots from his life. That's his soccer team, as you can see. That's him at his desk. I have that same picture at my desk. Makes me feel closer to him. I also have a picture of him when he's getting ready to brush his teeth, which I have that same picture in my bathroom, in a frame. And then we got Steve with Kelly, and that's shots from the backyard, and Steve with Kelly, and then Mother and Jennifer and I think in that picture you were pregnant with Jennifer. And there's Steve playing baseball. He was in the choir. He played the saxophone.
Wow.
And I think this is slide 8, and I gotta stop it there because there's some things that we don't want to give away. So we're gonna stop it there for the moment. And I'm gonna turn this over to Mother. I'm gonna stop the share for a moment, just so everyone's able to see Mother. And Mother, turn it over to you. Can you just share with everybody how you and Dad created this?
Well, after Steve's accident, the pastor and his wife took your dad and I to for just a ride, just to get away from all of the confusion at home and so forth. And I said, you know, I don't want a lot of flowers. I said, how about if we start a scholarship, and people can donate, you know, $10, whatever, instead of buying flowers, because flowers will just, even though it was, you know, warm weather, flowers will just die, but a scholarship, you know, could go on and help somebody. And especially, I said, because your dad and I had money for you for college and for Steve for college and Jennifer for college. And I said, your dad and I will put the money that we had for Steve's college and start the scholarship with that money, since Steve won't be able to use it. So that's how it started. And the pastor said to me, well, what criteria would you want? And so I said, well, one, they have to be a good Christian with a good testimony. I said, because that was Steve. That was our Steve. And the next was, sense of humor. So our Steve had a sense of humor. Right, Jenny?
Right.
And then all A students usually get a lot of scholarships.
Right.
Our son was not a straight A student. He was a solid B student. And so I said, I would want the scholarship to be a solid B student. Then a good school spirit, be active in some kind of a sport, be active in some kind of music. Our son sang in the choir. He also was a saxophone soloist for the school. And as Cynthia alluded to, he played every sport, not football. We didn't have football at that school.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have played football anyway. I don't think
know.
his dad would have let him.
I
No,
don't know. I don't know if you'd have signed off on that
no,
one.
I don't think I would have.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he loved just everything that he did. He just wholeheartedly enjoyed life and people. He was a very definite people person.
He was. And can you share with everyone, you did something amazing, which is only a God thing. What you wrote the night that he passed, that beautiful letter, which really turned into a track.
Well, when he was taken to Children's Hospital, why I never left. His dad nor I, neither one. And when we came home, the doctors down there had, after he had passed, and I was holding him when he passed, as well as his dad. Why, the doctors down there said, you will have to have something to get you to sleep tonight. So everybody in the family took what was prescribed for them. And I went in Steve's room, and I was always, when any of the kids went away for overnight, even if they went just next door for overnight, I would write them a little note and put it around their toothbrush or something, and probably reminding them to be good and not forget to thank people. But anyway, I sat down in Steve's room at his desk, and I started to write a letter to him. And it was just telling him what had happened and how we were dealing with it. Not really well, but we were dealing with it. And so I read the Bible, but I was getting no solace. I was getting more a feeling of comfort inside by sitting and writing to him. I felt closer to him by writing and telling him what had happened and how I was feeling and how the family was feeling. So the next morning, my husband said, did you sleep at all, honey? I said, no, I really didn't. I said, but I wrote a letter to Steve. And he said, oh, may I read it? I said, sure. I said, it's in his Bible. So anyway, Joe read it and he said, oh, I think Pastor should read this. I said, no, I really don't want anybody to read it. It's just between Steve and myself. And so when Pastor came that afternoon, he said, I hear you've written a letter. I said, yes, I did. And so he insisted that he should read it. He said, you know, there's somebody in our church that is a publisher. And he said, I would like to have this published. And I said, no. Well, anyway, the bottom line was eventually it was published. And it's called Later On. And the publisher said, I want some pictures. So the pictures that those of you that have seen the track, those are the pictures that I had given the publisher. He said, now on the very back, I want you to write something now. And this was a few months later. And I wrote to all, what is it? To all that read this or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's not, oh, yes, it's to all, and it's to all who read this.
Yeah.
Can you and your children say with certainty that you know where you're going to be when
It was just kind of telling them,
death comes.
not trying to push my faith on anybody, but just letting them know that, you know, take care of your children and make sure that you hug them and tell them you love them, because our Steve went to school one day and he was playing a sport for the Lord's benefit. and he just never came home. But it had to have been that way, or it wouldn't have been that way. And I just
And this track that Mother wrote, and you know, it's on the website, but we'll send it to you too. But it actually has gone through several printings and is really, it's been around the world.
mhm.
And just through just people sharing it. And it's pretty remarkable, the amount of people that the ripples of lives that
Oh,
that
I've
you-
had
that
letters
you've
from
touched.
people
Yeah.
that have said that, and one man in particular, I remember, he said, you know, he said, in order for me to keep my children in the shoes that they want, and this that they want, and that they want, I have to have 3 jobs. And he said, my wife works too. But he said, you know what? I've never seen one game of baseball that my oldest son has played. And he's a senior this year. And he said, after I read your track, I stopped 2 jobs. And he said, I'm paying more attention to my kids, and I'm going to all the games now. And we received many, at
Yeah.
least close to 100 letters from different people
Yeah.
over the years that have contacted the church and got my name and so forth, and my husband's name, and wrote to us. So, you know, a lot of good has come out of Steve going on to his home in heaven, and not just the scholarship, which means that a little bit of him is going on every year. At least that's how I look at it. And but also through the track. It's been translated into 3 different languages through missionaries that have gotten a hold of it.
Do you also, could you share, again, this is kind of a slice of life of Stephen, that I think a story that people would love for you to share, if you would, is that story of Stephen's last pair of shoes.
Oh.
It goes to a sense of Stephen's character, and it's a beautiful short little thing that I think it'd be neat if you would share, if you would.
My husband always called Steve ornery good. He was ornery, but he was also good. And he never did anything malicious, but he was ornery. He would sneak over when Cynthia had a friend staying overnight. He would sneak over to Jenny's side. He would sneak over to her room and pretend he was a ghost, you know, saying ooh and all things like that, just to scare the 2 girls. But anyway, so, you know, he was not perfect. He was ornery good. But every year when school was about to start, I would take each one of the kids individually up to get out to this mall to get shoes. And it happened to be Stephen's turn. So we're coming out of the mall, and all of a sudden, coming in was a gentleman with a very challenged child. And I mean, she was very, very challenged, very disfigured. And as we entered, the husband was coming, like I was going out, the husband was coming in, and this individual child was coming on Steve's side. And when I saw this child, I thought, oh, I hope Stephen doesn't say anything. Not knowing what teenagers are going to say or how they're going to think about things, you know, because you don't usually talk about everything that you should talk about to kids, with kids, I guess. And so anyway, the gentleman smiled at me, and the little girl smiled and gave Stephen the most beautiful smile. Well, when we got outside, Stephen said, Mom, did you see that little girl? And I held my breath thinking, oh, dear God, what's he going to say? And he said, didn't she have the most beautiful smile you ever saw? He said, I just hope all the people in the mall that sees her will look at her smile, and that's all they'll see. Well, I grabbed a hold of him and gave him a big hug, and he goes, Mom, we're at the mall. So, there's the ordinary good, but the good was more predominant. But that was our Steve.
And if you would, this year marks the 42nd scholarship.
Wow.
Over, and this is the 37th year. Now, you're thinking of the math, you're thinking, well, how does that add up? Well, in 5 of the years earlier, earlier on, Mother and Dad gave 2 scholarships. In 5 years, there were 2 each year. So that's kind of how the math works. But Mother, would you like to, at this moment, share the actual amount that we're giving this year?
Absolutely. Are you ready, Hannah?
I'm so ready.
It's pretty exciting. It's the most that we've ever done.
When you think of what we started with, which was $25 plus the money that my husband and I had saved for Stephen's education. But this year we're giving a grand $8,000.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
Oh my
So
God.
much. Oh my gosh.
Oh
That's
Oh my
so
goodness.
good.
Now that goes directly, well, Cynthia will explain all
Yeah.
that, but it goes directly to the university,
Right.
or the college. It
Mhm.
doesn't come to you, it goes to them. We've just been so blessed. The first few years, my husband and I did this all by ourselves. So it grew and grew and grew. And we had very dear friends that were like, they had no children, but they were both graduated with me, went all through school, grade school and all with me. They were aunt and uncle to our children.
We were the Rent-A-Kids.
Yeah, they were the and anyway, and they were the godparents of our children, and they helped out with the scholarship after about the 2nd or 3rd year.
Yeah.
And but friends have said to me later on in life, why didn't you tell us about the scholarship? It's awfully hard to ask friends for money.
It is
Yeah.
a curious thing. Even at Daddy's, you struck on something so interesting, because even at my father passed 7 years ago,
Mhm.
and when I was doing the eulogy, I had made reference to that, he and Mother with the scholarship, and what a blessing that was, and how that was one of the many ways in ways that Dad gave back. And it was interesting, so many people came up to us after saying, wow, we didn't know anything about this.
Mhm.
And now at that point, we had, it had become a more public thing that people knew that it existed. But even still, we had people, even extended family, that still weren't aware.
Right.
So it's interesting when you have something that you start that's just family based, to kind of branch out and let people know. We went through a real learning curve with that, because you're so used to not saying anything to anybody,
Right.
just because you don't just talk about it. And then it feels awkward at first, but then it's like, well, wait a minute, the more people know, maybe they want to contribute. That means
Mhm.
more money to the students. So we've grown through this as a family, over the 37 years. We've grown a bit. And if it's okay with you, may I go into the talk about our sponsors?
Oh, absolutely.
So I'd love to do that. And of course, we have 2 of them with us. We've got Dave and his wife Margie have been amazing sponsors for many years. Have supported, and Margie, who she's not on the camera yet, but she owns Ascend Consulting. She's a premier counselor in our area. Dave is in the HVAC industry and is with Oliver, and they both have just been so supportive. Jenny Harding Messino, she and I have grown up since babies. Roslyn Swim Club, but I'm going to walk through everybody. So I'm going to.
She's kind of like another daughter
Yes,
for me.
yes. And
Aw.
we were little girls together. And I'm going to go back to a screen share because we have we want to go ahead and this is kind of a, if everyone can see all right. I'm going to walk through each sponsor. But that's kind of sums it up. But we'll start with what we call our eternal sponsor. And the picture you see is Aunt Pat and Uncle Ralph. Those are Aunt Pat and Uncle Ralph have been mother's friends since she was a little girl in 3rd grade.
Mhm.
And lifelong friends. Aunt Pat passed away 3 years ago. But Uncle Ralph is still with us. And they have, as Mother said, they have supported Steve's scholarship since it began. And every year they have just supported and have, increased the amounts that they provide. And it's been amazing. In fact, I want to just step back for a moment just to explain kind of how this works. It was a scholarship, as Mother said, that was really funded by Mother and a small group of friends. And in 2010, in the last, I guess, 15 years ago, started managing this scholarship on Mother and Dad's behalf. And then in 2010, Gary and I got to thinking, well, wow, when we pass, we don't want Mother and Dad's work to go by the wayside. We want to preserve that. So we were able to team up with the Chester County Community Foundation and create a foundation. And they do such a fantastic job of that. And so we were able to build the endowment. So now we're able to pull 5% of that balance, which is calculated every summer. And then that was what was given for many years. And then we thought, well, you know what? I wonder if we started doing a sponsorship opportunity with corporations or just individuals that want to contribute. How might that work? And our first goal was to get to $5,000. And so for the last 5 years, we've had a corporate and individual sponsorship opportunity, which has helped take what the endowment yields, and we're able to add to that. So that's kind of how we got to $8,000 this year. So having said that, Aunt Pat and Uncle Ralph we've called them our eternal sponsor, and it's been a real blessing. And as you can see their picture. Next is our diamond level sponsor, Michael Halabian, and he has given $1,500 for many, many years and years and years. And Michael and I met when I was an intern in Washington, D.C., when I was after I guess it was my summer of my sophomore year of college. I met him. He was working on the Hill. At the time, he was working in government. And then a couple years after, started working in his father's family business, has since taken it over. But he and I have never lost touch. And we know his family, he knows our family, he knows Gary. And it's just, he's like another extended family member. So since I was 19, I've known Michael. And he's been supportive of Mother and Dad's scholarship.
Nice young man.
And he's just wonderful. He couldn't be with us this evening, but he has just been so faithful in supporting our work. Next is our platinum sponsor, Ron Delavecchio, Riley Smith and Boyd Funeral Home. Ron, again, he had a ball game with his son, could not be with us tonight, sends his regrets, but he's been a platinum sponsor for many years at the $1,000 level. And it's been incredible. Ron has taken personal care of our family members, some extended. He took care of my father. And in fact, we're kind of following in Mother and Dad's playbook. They kind of planned their whole you call it the last party.
Mhm.
They were very proactive in planning their last party, Daddy's last party. Mother's already planned her last party. We have a playbook to follow. And we thought, they're very, type A people and planners. And I mean that in all the best ways. And we thought, well, that's really so nice that they've been able to plan. Gary and I are really going to follow suit and do the same thing, but we will be working with Ron. But he's been amazing and has just become such a friend to our family. And they're right in Westchester. Next is another platinum sponsor. That's Teresa and Buzzy Gospoderic, childhood friends of Mother.
Mhm.
Teresa is one of the girls, one of the Tea and Crumpet girls, as are Passanellis. This is a group of 6 families that it all started with the little girls when they were in kindergarten, been friends ever since. And Teresa's part of the Tea and Crumpet. And of course, the husbands got grandfathered in when everybody got married.
In fact, the other ladies had to approve them. before
Yes,
they
the
got
ladies had to give the blessing of the husbands. But literally, it's quite extraordinary when you think about meeting someone, when you're, kindergarten to grade school, and to be Mother just celebrated 87 to present day life. It's really remarkable that those threads, it's really a blessing. So here's another example of Mother's longevity of her relationships.
No, we told the husbands to be, we've been together forever. And either you accept these young ladies or hit the road.
Yeah. Now this is another interesting example. This gentleman here, his name is Judd Clayton and Associates. Now, and this,
Houston, Texas.
that's right. And this goes to the amazing husband that I have. And I'm so thankful and blessed to have Gary as my husband. And we wouldn't have this relationship. It's all because of Gary. There was a fire scene that this gentleman Gary is an electrical engineer with LASCO, and he specializes in forensics. So when they have fires and things like that, Gary helps figure out, kind of who's on first with those type of situations. Anyway, this gentleman had a case unrelated to LASCO and said to Gary, hey, you know what? I just can't figure this out. Would you help? And Gary, through doing his independent research, was able to figure out and find out who really should be liable. And because of that, helped Judd and allowed the family of the remaining people to really get a really good justice in the judicial system. So he, for years, said to Gary, well, can I pay you? And Gary said, no, this was just to be helpful. And then I guess maybe the second year into him offering, he said, well, you know what?
I sent him a track and I sent him the information. He just.
And he became a
stepped up. He
donor.
just stepped
Yeah.
up.
And so, and I got the privilege of speaking with Judd on the phone. I've never met him in person, but on the phone. And for several years, he's been a gold sponsor, but it all was because of kindness that Gary did. And so it was it's a beautiful thing. And he is an amazing soul. And so that's really the beautiful story of Judd. Next is a gold sponsor. Now talk about the threads. Jenny and I are an example of the threads of a lifetime of friendship. This is another example of that. Carolyn Best was my roommate from Widener University. And I met Carolyn when I was 18 years old. And we have been friends ever since. That's her husband, Bill. And they have donated over the years. This year, they decided they were going to be a gold sponsor. And we were just delighted. But they are just a lovely couple. They actually retired and live in the Gettysburg area now. Fayetteville, I guess, to be specific. But we were just delighted that they did this year. And as I said, over the years, they've donated at different times. And we were just delighted. So it's just so nice that you can put faces with names.
It's very nice.
It is. Now here is two people that are so near and dear to our hearts, Dave and Margie Johnson. Dave is with us at our silver sponsor. They have been silver sponsors for many, many years. And I had the privilege of meeting Dave through Rotary. Many of you may know what Rotary is about. It's just all about giving back to the community. And I met Dave in Rotary in, 2004, and met him, and we've been friends. And then I got to meet his wife, Margie, and they met Gary and mom and dad. And we've been involved with their life and they in ours for years and years. And we're just very thankful for their friendship. And how they've just supported Steve all these years. So we've just been very blessed. So Dave, thank you so much, you and Margie, for your friendship and having such a tender heart for Steve. We we appreciate it so much. And Hannah, again, the faces of Dave and Jenny, those are two of the faces as to what's helping this become a reality for you tonight. So I think that's pretty powerful. And for them too, to be able to see, well, this is the young lady that you're lifting up this year, I think that's pretty special.
Very full circle.
Yes, very much so. Oh, and I don't make sure I know, Margie's the owner of Ascend Consulting, and she again is one of the premier counselors in the area. She also does executive coaching, and she's phenomenal. Dave is a premier executive with Oliver Heating and is just a staple in our community in so many ways, not only in the business community, but both in the philanthropic community.
Super people.
Yes.
Super people.
Here's another Rotarian, our sweet Lenore Guthrie. Unfortunately, Skip, her husband, passed. I think it's been about 2 months now. But Dave and I have been in Rotary with Lenore, and Lenore's been in for probably 30 years. But I've been in about half that time, but she's just a delight, and she continues to be a circle sponsor, she and her husband, and is just one of the nicest people you could meet. And we're very thankful to know her. Here, now this is amazing. This is Jenny's brother, Brian, and his wife, Brian and Dawn Harding. Brian is the owner of Priority Transport, a company. And but they both have contributed to Steve these last couple years. But how wonderful, brother and sister, Jenny and her family and Brian and his family independently deciding to contribute to Steve. And again, for those that may not realize, the thread is the Roslyn community with Jenny and Brian Harding. We grew up on Parkside Avenue, they on Sheridan Drive, but the common center heartbeat of our community was Roslyn Swim Club. And that's where we all, in fact, that's how I met my husband.
I was the lifeguard.
He was the handsome lifeguard, and I had the maddest crush on him. And then at the 50-year reunion, we reconnected, and a year later we were married. So Hannah, you never know where the youthful connections, how it can just make your life. But the friendships, Jenny and I, again, and her brother and her other brother grew up as children together. And that bond, as you can see, has never been broken. So.
And Jared used to work at Roslyn.
Oh my goodness, Jeff Bott.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All my kids are swimmers. So yeah, they all swam for Henderson.
And Jeff Bott is Steve's best friend.
Yeah.
So I babysat for them for years and years. Here's another donor. This is another Stephen Circle sponsor. This is our dentist who now is retired, Dr. Nelson and his wife, Miyoko. And I'll tell you, it's so sad. Oh my word. If you just have a teeth cleaning, he will call you, not his staff. He calls you that night just to make sure you're okay. Amazing gentleman and his wife, Miyoko. And they've been supporting Steve for many years. And sadly, he retired, but boy, what a wonderful family. Let's see. And here is Jenny Harding Messino and her husband, Mark Messino. They are a Stephen's Circle sponsor. And again, so grateful. It's because of Jenny and Mark that, again, it helped us get to where we are this year. And Jenny and Mark live in it. What is the town you live in, Jenny?
New Hope.
New Hope. And but I'll tell you, I was out there once, just like a slice of heaven where you live. And but it all started again growing up in Roslyn Swim Club, and her parents, my parents, in fact, Jenny's father hired my husband, and he's worked there for 47 years.
Oh my God.
That was his first boss, is Jenny's father, Mr. Harvey. So the threads run very deep, and the threads are lifelong, and very much a blessing, as you can see.
Muchly appreciated,
Yes.
believe me.
Very much so. And again, Hannah, it's so important that we want to just honor all our sponsors, because it's because of their kindness and faithfulness that, you know, we were able to achieve the $8,000. And I kind of looked it up, your university, for I think this will cover, if my math is correct, for the tuition, like 47%, almost 50% of your first semester bill.
Wow.
So you'll look it up, but we were excited we were kind of, you know, you're always curious, well, how impactful would those dollars be, depending on where the student wants to go. So it's always an interesting contrast to see how much that might cover for the student, but we were thrilled to see that.
That doesn't cover books, though. I
No,
don't think. No.
but we hope it eases the burden for the first semester.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hannah, at this time, and this is such a beautiful picture
Oh,
of
it
you, and
is.
Hannah's going to attend University of South Carolina in biological sciences. And Hannah, I'm wondering if you would be kind enough to share a little bit about your testimonial with us.
When I wrote my testimonial, I was just thinking about the impact that it will have on my life. And I was thinking, the main part that I was thinking of, because I was reading the website about his characteristics and his kindness, I was thinking about the chain reaction of kindness that this will have on my life and everyone that I meet and impact. And I think just this and having this Zoom meeting with all of you and learning everyone's stories, it is really impactful, and it definitely is something to carry around with you. And it's something to show, to appreciate the little things, like the time that I spent with my family. Anytime they would come to my swim meets or anything, I think it's just really more meaningful to appreciate anything and everything you have, and to put forth kindness whenever it's possible.
And do you happen to have, Hannah, the actual testimony handy? If not, I can bring it up on the screen. I'd love for it if you would read that.
Can you go?
Or you know what, I'll tell you what, if you'd like, I can share the screen, and if you would like to read that, I think everybody would love to hear it from your words. So I'm gonna do let me see if
It was a beautiful testimony, Hannah.
Thank you.
and are you able to see that, Hannah, from your screen?
Yeah, I just might have to be a little close to the screen because I am on my phone. So sorry.
I'm gonna go get the laptop.
No, this is fine.
You okay, or you want me to go get it?
No, this is fine. I already have it up.
Okay.
So if you would share, I know everybody would love to hear it.
Okay. My name is Hannah FRUHWIRTH, and I am beyond honored to be the 2021 recipient of the Stephen Chandler Ericson Memorial Scholarship. The history of this foundation is rooted in love, kindness, and compassion. During my time at Henderson, I was a devoted and hardworking swimmer. It paints a smile on my face to be recognized with fellow Henderson swimming alumni that I looked up to over the years. It is a true honor to be recognized with the same traits and spirit as Stephen. The kindness demonstrated within this memorial will never be forgotten, since it will continue to leave a lasting imprint on me and others around me. As I attend the University of South Carolina in the fall, I will carry an extra dose of kindness around with me for whoever may need it. Kindness is immensely contagious, and I hope to spread it with me wherever life takes me. Thank you again for honoring me with this meaningful and kind scholarship.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
That is just beautiful, Hannah. And I want to show pictures of Hannah and her family. I appreciate you and your dad and your mother sending us pictures. Of course, that's Miss Hannah, and beautiful pictures of her mother and dad and her siblings. at graduation. And of course, this is
Oh,
from Steve.
oh.
You know, it's, even though it's been close to 40 years, you never, someone said to me one time, well, how long does it take you to get over the death of a child? You never, ever get over it. You just learn to cope with it. But this, on these occasions, Cynthia and Gary also, because Gary's known Steve since he was a little kid, it's a double-edged sword, because it's a happy day to give somebody the scholarship, but it also brings so much.
Well, it's a lot
grief.
of emotional.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
very
emotion.
emotional.
And you know, as I said, we all have pictures in our homes, and but one of the things that we're really thankful for is, you know, when Mother and Dad started this, you know, I really wasn't involved for the first 15 years. I mean, I knew it was there, but I was just working and building my career, getting my bearings as an adult, as a grown up, and then as years went on, I really started to have a, you know, very deep and as I matured, deep appreciation for not only that they have survived this, well, we all survived, but that they survived and they thrived, and really the power of what they created. As time went on, you know, you really kind of get your arms around the enormity of that and the lives it's touched. And then, as I said, when they said, well, will you start managing this? And I was happy to do it. It really was a gift to me, to have, again, a deeper appreciation for all that they had done, and then get to know all the recipients, you know, as we started to do a deeper dive into the, you know, the first recipient, and kind of find folks, the history of it, and really interview. Like the first recipient was Lee Johnston in 1985. And I had the pleasure of interviewing him about 10 years ago, and come to find out the whole story of how it affected his life. And it was a joy to go sit at Mother and Dad's kitchen table and relay, you know, how, you know, that he was so touched that financially the amount that was given was huge to him at that moment. And that in that moment, he said a little prayer to God, you know, if I'm ever successful in my life, I want to give back like they are giving to me. And it was so wonderful to learn that he and his wife now have two foundations where they help educate a child. And it's all because of what Steve and Mother and Dad did, is starting in 1985. The ripple effect is amazing. And I want to kind of give you some interesting things that we've learned over the years. As I said in the beginning, this is the 42nd scholarship being awarded in 2021, 42nd. It's been going strong for 37 years. Of course, as I said, in 5 of those years, Mother and Dad gave 2 a year.
We had nice bonuses that
yes.
year.
And from 1985 to 2012, we worked exclusively with the Christian school where we all went to school. And we loved the Christian school. It was fantastic. One of the things, though, as we time went on, we thought, boy, we'd really love to let a wider audience know this was it's a private Christian school, which is fantastic. But we thought, you know, we really would love more of the public school community to be aware too, and kind of spread more awareness. So we decided, we gave a scholarship that year to the Christian school. And that year also, we decided we wanted to branch out also to include a public school. And of course, it was easy to make a decision, because that's where Jeff Bott taught, Steve's best friend. And so it was a no-brainer. We sat, Mother and Daddy and Gary and I sat down, and it was like, no-brainer, Henderson. So since 2012, we've been working with Henderson. And it's been really nice, because they were really of the mindset they wanted to help us spread awareness of what that it existed, and just kind of that awareness was really powerful. The scholarships have gone to over 20 different colleges and universities. Hey, Margie. Margie Johnson is joining us.
Hey.
Our dear friend, thank you for joining us.
Oh, happy to be here.
Good to see you.
Hi.
And so over 20 different colleges and universities since 1985. 3 recipients are business owners, and a majority of our recipients make Pennsylvania their lifelong home. So interesting kind of facts, you know, as you collect over the years. We try to do a little pulse on our students, what they're doing, and a little bit about how it works. We're building the endowment. It's interesting. We've never had really a fundraiser. We've had donations, and then for 5 years I had a radio show at WCHE, and after the first, I guess maybe 6 months, I used to give everyone copies of their show. And long story short, people said, you know, you should really charge if you're giving the copy. And I said, well, I don't want to charge, but you know what? How about if people, to be on the show, they give a $25 donation to Steve's Foundation. So we started that being kind of the policy, and that trickle ended up being between $5,000 and $8,000 a year, because there were 2 shows, 2 guests every show. I did 2 shows, that four contributions every week, and some people, you know, would give more. So over the years, it's interesting how that added up. We never had a traditional fundraiser, but over the years, it allowed us to build the endowment to a level where we could take money from it, that 5%. And then, as we said, we added the sponsorship opportunity, and that allowed us to really get to the $5,000 level. And now this year, with the biggest year ever with the $8,000, and it's all because of you sponsors. It's been wonderful. So that's really how we got here. Let's see. And the other thing we wanted to mention was this community foundation, the Chester County Community Foundation. We created our foundation through working with the community foundation. So the wonderful thing about the community foundation is they take us, I used to think before we created the foundation, you hear that word, you think big dollars, you know, to have a foundation. Well, the beauty of the Chester County Community Foundation is you can start with seedlings of funds. It doesn't have to be, we started ours with $1,000, and our endowment is over $50,000 now.
Wow.
And we want that to sit there and just earn, and then the community foundation extracts 5%. But it's because of working with the community foundation, really anybody, if you have a cause near and dear to your heart, you want to honor someone's memory, you want to do an educational scholarship, they will work with you. And again, you can pool funds with different families. So every which way, anybody that wants to create something wonderful, a legacy or a memorial thing, working with the Chester County Community Foundation can make those dreams happen. And Kevin Bappa, I want to thank you so much, you and your whole team, Karen Simmons, Beth Harper Briglia, all those folks, and so many more with the Chester County Community Foundation team.
They've been wonderful.
They make it happen. And so we are just very grateful for that partnership. It's because of that we're sitting here together today. So we just want to thank you for that. I want to open it up for any questions anybody might have.
I don't have a question. I just have a statement that
Sure.
Thank you so much, first of all. And I just find you're so inspirational, because, you know, every parent's worst nightmare is to lose a child, without a doubt. And to be able to take something so tragic and to create something that has a lasting impact on so many people's lives, it really is inspirational. I can't even begin to thank you enough. And, you know, Stephen's name will live on, and his spirit will live on forever because of the incredible work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for feeling that way. That's what we hope people will. I'm hoping that in 3 years, I'll be 90. If the good Lord allows me to still be here at 90, why I'm hoping we can give $10,000 to the recipient for that year.
That would be nice.
And how wonderful it would be to have a party with all of the recipients coming.
Yes.
I'd like to see them all.
Oh my gosh, I'll be
In
there.
person.
I'll be
in
there.
person. Typically,
Yeah.
we typically, if it were not kind of in a pandemic or a post-pandemic time, we have the family, the recipient and the family, any sponsors that can attend. Physically here at our home in Westchester, we all gather around the dining room table and Mother does the presentation. And then after we have refreshments and it's a real time of fellowship. So we sure hope that next year we can do it, you know, kind of the way the original way, right?
Yeah.
That we've been
And
used
Hannah,
to doing it.
usually I give the recipient a big hug.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a virtual big hug.
That's right. Yeah, we come from a long line of huggers,
Lot of huggers.
starting
Yep.
with
Oh, I love it. I love it.
and Mother is a hugger, and
Yeah.
consequently, that's just all we know. So that's kind of how that evolved. But
But during the pandemic, we couldn't do any of
no, we
that.
couldn't do any of that.
Right.
So,
my.
but any thoughts? Anybody want to share anything? We'd love to hear from anybody. Margie, I don't know if you want to share anything or say anything at all. We're delighted to anything that anyone wants to share.
Well, I am so happy that I've attended several of these and I've sponsored a little bit here and there along the way
Yes,
with
you
my
have.
business. And I heard a little bit more about the foundation tonight. It hasn't been, it's not that it hasn't been said before,
Mhm.
but the Chester County Foundation, I just learned a little bit more about it. And I'm excited to hear how a very small amount of money
Yes.
can really grow to make a difference in the world, one person at a time.
Yes.
That's so exciting. Yeah.
In fact, Stephen's tagline is, you know, changing lives, you know, one life at a
One life
time.
One life at a time.
One life makes a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does.
Yeah,
So
and-
congratulations, Hannah, for
Thank you so
earning
much.
this scholarship.
Yeah. And Jenny, you know, I'm just delighted that you could be here, and, you know, you are just one of the beautiful threads too
One of our family.
of our childhood, you know, and I think it underscores, I think, to Hannah and her family, you know, that the ties, that all the different beautiful friendships that you make along the way, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jenny and I grew up since we were babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Her parents and my husband and I were very, very close friends, right, Jenny?
Oh,
And it's just, I think the friendships that you make when you're young,
yes,
you know, what is it they say? Old friends are golden, new are silver, but old friendships are golden.
Yeah.
And that's certainly true. It was in my lifetime, and it certainly has been in Cynthia and
and
Gary's.
Gary's, yes.
And so take heed of that.
And the Roslyn connection, I mean, Gary, his guy friends, and, you know, the neighborhood connections, he's friends to this day
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your guys,
My interview with your dad was
with
timing a
Jenny's
swim meet.
father.
I was timing the swim meet.
Oh,
He said to me, "Where did you go to school? What'd you study? Well, you need a job. You can start Monday."
Literally.
That was my interview.
And he's been there 47 years, right?
oh my gosh. He knew you were a good one.
That's right. And
I got lucky. I got very lucky that day.
well,
Well,
Jenny,
it's been
yeah.
such an honor to be a part of this. And I have things I'd like to say, but I'm so emotional.
That's okay. So am
it's
I.
we are crying too. It's,
oh,
you know, we break down, but you go ahead and say whatever you can say. We'd love to
No,
hear.
I mean,
whatever-
I remember the last time we were together, I remember saying to you, like, how did your parents do it? You know, how did they get through it? And because I was a kid too, we were, a couple of years older, but it's stuck with me, and how your parents handled it and their faith, it's all stuck with me. And I talk to my kids about it. like you said, the ripple effect of the story and the person he was, and the memories I have. It's just, so being a part of this just has made me emotional, but it's a wonderful thing. And I'm glad to now be a part of it, you know, and sharing this. And moving forward, I look forward to meeting more recipients, and just congratulations to Hannah. I mean, I was a swimmer and I went to Henderson, but Henderson didn't have swimming when I went. So I swam, you know, at other clubs, but it's awesome that they have swimming now. So, so congratulations.
I love it.
Yeah.
And she knew Jeff Bott very well too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
We all did.
Yeah.
Jeff spent more time at our house than he did at his own.
Oh,
And Gary wants to share.
I want to ask Anna a question. What was your time for 100 meters freestyle?
Are you asking me or Hannah?
Hannah.
I think my mom would know better than I would, honestly, for
Okay,
freestyle.
Carmen, you're on the spot.
It's like a 55.
Wow.
Well, that I have some good news for you. That's about 4 seconds faster than I ever did. My best day.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And Gary is a Henderson graduate as well.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Very welcoming.
So,
Well, I would just like to say thank you so much for all of this. First of all, the scholarship, and for this whole, like, meeting everyone on the Zoom today. Is just a whole, like, new, like, world this opened up to. And I love how you sat us all down and had this big meeting for all of us, because it's very meaningful to get to know all of this and everything that allows it to run. It's just, I love to know it, and it's very meaningful.
well, I'm so glad, and it's been a pleasure, you know, getting your emails, you and your mom and dad, your emails. I really appreciate you getting us the information, and it's been wonderful. And I'll tell you, we would love to, you know, maybe with things opening up, and Mother had a bout of a flu bug, as did I, so we can't do as we thought, our photo back at the house tonight, just for that photo with the big check. But it'd be nice before the summer ends, before you go to school, and I'll coordinate with your mother and father and you, Hannah. But it would be nice, perhaps we could at least, you know, get together at some point before you.
Yes, I would love that.
We would very much like that. And next year we definitely want to do a live. But it would be, what fun it would be to have you guys invited to next year's in-person meeting to meet the next year recipient, to bring back the 2021. That would be fun. We've never done that before.
Oh my gosh, that'd be like a reunion. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. So, you know, that's something we're going to think about.
You could enlighten them to that first year of college.
That's
what it's
right.
really like.
Show them the ropes a bit.
What it's really like.
Ainsley, anything you'd like to share about your amazing sister and just your family and just your experience tonight?
Oh, it was super cool. I also went and graduated from Henderson. I never knew about this scholarship or anything like that. So it was definitely, I learned a lot tonight, and I'm proud of Hannah. I think that she definitely deserves it. She fits that criteria that you guys were talking about earlier. So I think that it's an amazing thing, to echo what my mom said, that your family is doing. I wish the world were full of more people like that wasn't hardened by tragedy, but instead decided to just continue to love through it. So thank you.
We'll have to just keep moving along, everybody, so that the world can be that way, right?
Yeah, true.
We can be the ambassadors for them.
You know, one of the questions that sometimes I'll get asked, and I'm sure anybody that has suffered any type of tragedy or situation, when you get asked this question, you feel, okay, maybe there's a blessing in there. And when people have gone through maybe a loss of a sibling or a loss, and they may know our family story, and they may say, well, how did you navigate? And, you know, I think whenever you have a tragedy that happens in your life, you know, God really uses those things for good. It doesn't make the feeling you're not happy about what happened. And people say, well, how does it get better? And I always say, well, you know what? It doesn't get better. It gets different. It gets manageable.
You learn to cope.
Yeah, you learn to survive what you've experienced. It doesn't get better. But it's amazing how it's true that all things work together for good for those that love God. And
Yep.
it's really true. And I say this with all my heart because I watched my parents. It leveled our family as it would any family.
Yep.
And to watch them ultimately, well, all of us, but watching my parents, just not only survive it, but then thrive and turn that tragedy into a triumph is just something that is just been so powerful in my life. And it has been an encouragement to me. And, we feel very honored to be able to just be a steward of what they're doing and of what they've done all these years. So it's it's a blessing. And no matter how many years pass, it's you miss that person every moment. And there's never enough minutes, but I feel the work that we get to do with Mother, Gary and I get to do with Mother, it just keeps us bound together. And seeing Hannah, you, and how that Steve is helping you this year, the joy, I just can't tell you the joy that it gives us. So,
I haven't heard from Hannah's dad.
oh, Michael.
Michael.
Michael, thank you. I'm so glad. Michael, would you like to share a few words? You can cry if you want to.
I am fighting back the tears. I just want to say thank you. We're very proud of Hannah and what she has done. But I'd also like to thank all of you, for sharing your lives with us. Just very inspirational. The tender moments and the difficult moments. But I just want to say thank you so much. It's a very genuine experience, and I can't thank you enough for your kindness.
Well, you have a wonderful family and a
Sure
very
do.
exceptional young lady here
You
in
do.
the way of Hannah here. And I just wish her all the best in the future. Enjoy the years of college. They're just great. My husband and I met at Penn State. We're both Penn Staters.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
We are. Penn State.
We are Penn State, yeah. And we enjoyed college, and but the friends that we made, or that I made, and her dad just had to go along with them. All right.
Well, between the two of you, I think you made a beautiful circle of friends.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I think it should be noted also, nobody can apply for this scholarship.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that.
When we started this, the pastor said to us, well, how are you going to discern who would get it and who wouldn't? And I said, well, it should be a senior, of course. And I said, but I don't want any part of it. And my husband, Joe, said, oh, no. He said, we don't want to be involved with who would be chosen. We'll just turn over the money, and you people, the teachers at the school. And so that is how it has been, has evolved.
That's right.
And
it's the way you and Dad, it's amazing. Now, this is over 37 years. The way Mother and Dad created and set this to work has just stood the test of time, because, they
changed.
Yeah, it's been wonderful that they wanted the principal and all the student, or the teachers that work with the senior class, because they know the student, to make the decision based on the criteria that Mother and Dad created. Which are those attributes of the good Christian testimony, sense of humor, average student, good school spirit, active in sports and in music, and family oriented. And it's been wonderful because they had the foresight. They never wanted to be in the position of, do they favoritism or somebody,
No.
they wanted to kind of remove themselves from it. And I think that served you very well.
Yeah.
And, the school picks it. And you touched on something else that I wanted to mention to Hannah in terms of how the funds end up getting to the university. I'm going to connect you with Kevin and the Chester County Community Foundation team, and they will make sure you'll have some paperwork to fill out, and they make sure the funds go directly to the school. When we created this foundation, we wanted to make sure that we were with a foundation that had stellar reputation. And of course, it doesn't come finer than the Chester County Community Foundation.
Right.
And also we wanted to make sure there was full transparency, though, that every dollar, that is collected, it doesn't go to us. There would be no window of a pause for someone to donate because they're thinking, well, where do the funds really go? It goes into the endowment, and then what's extracted, and then what's ever added to it with the sponsorship goes then directly to the student's university. It doesn't go to the student, which
Right.
is wonderful because we wanted to make sure there would never be a margin for somebody misusing funds. And and that's a tribute to the Chester County Community Foundation, the way they have it set up. So I'm going to connect you via email with Kevin, and he will then offline at a separate time walk you through all the steps, right, Kevin, and the paperwork. So everything is done very orderly. Kevin, do you want to add anything to that?
No, just congratulations, Hannah, on winning the scholarship. The community foundation, at the community foundation, we have probably around 90 scholarship funds, and we give out in the 120, 130 award range per year. So we're happy with every award. Some are as small as 500, some are in the very few are in the 5-figure range. Cynthia's work here to get it up to 8,000 from where we've started is great, and we're very happy that we're able to help you, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah.
So from here on out, like Cynthia said, there's some paperwork to fill out, and then we will get the money to the University of South Carolina as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's nice because we just never wanted anyone, although I think there's it's either a 1 or 2% fee that the Chester County Community Foundation extracts from the endowment as their fee, because they do all the taxes, they do all the 501c3, all that work. We don't have to be bothered with any of that. So there's I think it's 2% that they take, and that's the fee to manage our fund. But beyond that, every dollar is in the endowment and then is pulled out. And the nice thing is now that we build it to a level where this will go on in perpetuity. So it will go on forever. And in Mother's will and in my will and in Gary's, we have a money set aside so that who knows, the good news is this will never end. The exciting news is it'll probably be a lot larger way in the distant future. And we may get to a point where, we don't do the sponsorship anymore. But regardless, I think the nice news is the amounts will continue to increase regardless of sponsorship. I mean, in 20 years down the road, because
Maybe 30 years.
While I'm still around, we're going to keep working on sponsorships. But you get the idea.
I won't be around in 30 years, but the scholarship will.
Yes,
and
it's going to go on helping people, forever, and that's a nice thing. And again, it's all because of the Chester County Community Foundation, the way they have their organization set up. So I just, any other comments or anything anyone wants to share before we conclude? Colleen, would you like to share something?
I'd like Colleen to tell me about her other 2 children, what they're doing. And so
Okay,
forth.
well, Ainsley, as she said very early on, she's on the West Coast. She attended and graduated from the Coast Guard Academy, so she's now serving in the Coast Guard.
Congratulations,
good.
Ansley.
Very good.
That's exciting.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
service.
And then Jared, he is a midshipman at the Naval Academy, and he'll graduate next year.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Fabulous.
Is he there that we can see him?
Can you
Yep.
turn it?
She's got to turn the camera on.
Oh,
Is that? There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Abe, she is a student at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and she's studying
Are you
global
big?
public health.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Very topical
great.
right now.
That's wonderful.
And we're very proud of all of them. And Hannah will be, one thing she didn't tell you, she's going to be entering University of South Carolina as a Naval ROTC student. So she will also be serving after she graduates too.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
Congratulations,
Wonderful.
Hannah.
Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
Hannah, that's remarkable.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
absolutely.
That's
All of you.
very,
The whole
all of
family, the
you,
entire
all
family.
of you. Yeah.
Well, you parents should be very proud, which I'm
We
sure
are
you
very
are,
proud.
That's
of
right.
your children. You've done a wonderful job in raising them, and they are certainly a good testimony for you, both of you.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you
that
for
says
that.
a lot in this day and age. You know, it was a little easier raising children when I was raising kids, but you people have so many obstacles now, and things that our kids didn't have
Right. Mhm.
to worry with or to be challenged with.
Yes.
And I don't think that I have the stamina to raise children in this day and age.
Well, you know what? I think
I don't think I do either.
there's a time for everything, right? A season
Yeah.
for everything.
Yeah.
And but I just want to thank everybody that that were able to take time tonight to be with us. It's been a real blessing to see all of your beautiful faces, and we are just really thankful for each and every one of you. Dave and Margie, just we're so blessed with your friendship,
Oh, my
and we
word,
just
yes.
dearly love you both and your whole family. You are so precious to us, and we're just very grateful for all that you've done for us and for Steve. Jenny,
Goes
just
without saying, Jenny.
well, but
We love you.
But I'm going to
Need
say
to
it. But Jenny, it's wonderful to grow up with somebody and to still call them friend, and it's just wonderful to have you with us tonight. And the ties that bind us are it's wonderful, and we just dearly love you, and it's we're forever connected. And thank you to Mark too. Please thank him for us, for being joining Steve this year. We're just very thankful for that. And to all the donors, a lot of, most of which unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, for all the other donors. And that's why it was so important to Hannah, for you and your family, to see the faces of all the other people that you got to see, the wonderful folks that are with us tonight that contributed, but also the others too, because it's a real wonderful commitment that people do when they give their dollars to Steve. It's such an important thing, and all those people that gave from their heart, made tonight happen for you. And they really are excited for you in your life. And most importantly, we're thankful to Mother and Dad that were able to turn tragedy into triumph and make tonight happen. So
we just have to turn it over to the Lord,
Yeah.
whatever problem you have.
Yeah.
And if you do that, he'll come through for you every time.
And it's funny, he sometimes, I think God definitely has a sense of humor. Sometimes it does take us to the very edge. Sometimes, life can get so challenging and concentrated with things happening all simultaneously. But he really, there's that if you keep your eyes focused on the Lord, it's a quiet, still place. And if we just keep our eyes focused on that still place, you know, life will continue to whirl around us.
Yeah.
But, you know, he really fulfills his promise that he promises he'll never give us more than we can handle. I know that there are a lot of moments where we think, well, wait a minute, this
Pretty
seems,
full jug sometimes.
it's pretty overwhelming, but he gives us the tools. He brings people into our lives. He gives us the resources ultimately to get through those moments, you know, and he really does deliver. And so we're here before you today because of the Lord, and that he's been able to sustain us, and this is all his doing. And we're just thankful again that we can be a part of it with Mother and Dad, and to be with all you tonight. And we really hope that Hannah and your whole family, that you'll keep in touch, and we really would like to get a date later in the year to be together.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love
Hannah,
that.
you're welcome to stop by my house anytime at all.
Yeah,
And your family.
that's right.
All right.
Well,
Good luck, swim fast, and don't forget to study.
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to kind of close it up and kind of wind our talk down, but we just want to again thank you all. I know everybody has very busy lives, but we really, our hearts are full that you all were with us tonight, and all the things that you've all done to support us, and to support Steve and Mother and Dad, and ultimately
And
Hannah.
Thank you.
Hannah, I'm so thankful you can put faces with all the people that made this happen tonight.
Yes, I love that.
And Jenny and Margie and Dave and the other faces, you know, those are the folks that made it happen. But most importantly, this lady right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
She made it happen. She and Dad created this. So they're why we're here tonight. And most of all, equally, but most of all, Steve. And you know, so you're paying it forward. You're paying it forward. You're taking a little of him to in your college journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Great way to put it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, that's how I look at it. With
Yeah.
every recipient that gets a scholarship, I always feel like a little bit of Steve is going to that college. He has gone to so many colleges now.
Right. Well, it's been let's see, 20 different colleges and universities, but 42 people. And so hard to believe it all started in May of 1985.
Wow.
But we want to again thank you so much. This is, as I said, we were thankful to record this, so we're going to upload this, so and we'll share it with the community foundation, and so it'll be out on social media, and we'll try and email it to you too. So if you want to look at it or share it with anybody, you know, that would be wonderful. So
Jenny, you
Good
can
luck,
apply too
Hannah.
again. You know.
Thank you
thanks,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for being with us
Bye.
tonight.
Nice meeting you all.
Take
Nice
care.
meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
God bless you.
Love you.
God bless you.
Thanks.